Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 407, Broken Culture. And so I was, I'm 44, almost 45 years old, and I was thinking about the culture of America and the culture of society and how everybody is either blaming Barack Obama or Donald Trump on what's wrong with the world. And that just doesn't hold water if you really look at it, because, Donald Trump's been president for 3 or 4 years, but I think Barack was only president for 8 years, Barack Obama. And so you can't blame either one of the presidents, but the bottom line is this: I think pretty much everybody universally agrees that there's probably something wrong with the culture of our country, and that it just doesn't have that cohesive nature that it used to feel like it used to have. And so I was kind of praying and meditating it back to my childhood and my youth. And so I'm almost 45 years old this month. I'm going to be 45. And so I grew up as a child of the 80s. I was born in 1975. And I was thinking about and meditating about when I grew up, right? And so, when I grew up, I had the only divorced parents in my entire town. And nobody understood it. Like, it was kind of foreign to pretty much everybody. And I had to constantly explain to people why my mom and my dad had different last names, which I thought was really actually interesting, because everybody was married and nobody had a divorce. And back then I was actually thinking about what was the dream of the world for families for the most part, and what did families actually concentrate on, what was their life ambition. Well, more people went to church those days than these days, so that was one thing. They actually had more of a spiritual life. Granted, it might not have been as robust as the 40s and 50s, but certainly it was better off than it was today. But most families kind of, they had an intact family, right? And most of the time it was the working dad, not the working mom. Most families wanted a house, a small house on the edge of town, or, someplace where they had a safe place with a small yard with a picket fence where kids could actually play in the yard. They also wanted maybe have a car, and it was usually a Ford, Chevy, or Chrysler, or some American-made car. They wanted that. They wanted the capacity to have a stable job that could pay for the necessities of the house, maybe a little bit of health care, and maybe the capacity for their kid to go to college, and maybe community college even. That was kind of the dream for the most part. Maybe you can help your kid out with college a little bit. It certainly wasn't a parental expectation that parents were going to pay for college. And then, what else did they expect? Well, some of the parents, maybe they wanted a little steel or aluminum rowboat that they could take the kids out fishing once a month. Maybe one family wanted maybe a steak dinner once a month or something like that, right? Maybe they could do that. Maybe if you're really well off, that maybe you could actually have a 1-week vacation on the Jersey Shore or something like that. And then if you're really, really well off, maybe you could have 2 Chevys or 2 Fords or 2 Chryslers in the driveway. And that was really it. Maybe I'm remembering things in ways that I don't like. I'm kind of sensationalizing things and making them seem better than they were. But it was kind of hometown America. And by the way, everybody back then, they had not huge expectations of their lives, but they held on to their families and they loved their country. And so that was the culture of America, at least as I can recall it best. Probably wasn't exactly that. But all that being said is, it was different than it is today. And so the culture is broken. And then I was thinking about it. So I'll tell you a quick story. So I grew up, just north of New York City. I'm originally out of the Bronx. And as a kid, I used to watch the news all the time with my grandpa or my dad, or just watch it by myself when I didn't have either one of them around. And I remember Donald Trump as a kid being this kind of high-profile developer with beautiful wives and so on and so forth. And that's how I remember Donald Trump. And that's the end of Donald Trump in my life. I grew up, and once I hit college, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but for the most part, I'm not. I did not watch TV from the age of 18 on to 45. I barely watched any shows my entire life, my adult life, because I have been reading and working too much, and I have 9 kids, and I don't have time to do these things. But so I didn't know anything about Donald Trump when I heard he was going to run for president of the United States of America, other than he was some high-profile New Yorker, and he was an entertainer. That's all I knew. And so I remember the Republican. Although I haven't voted for any Republicans before Donald Trump, I did. I did follow the Republicans. That's what I did. And, I'm kind of a conservative guy. And I remember I told my wife when there were 17 Republicans, including Donald Trump, in the Republican primary, I said, well, I'm going to wait until the Donald Trump show's over, and then I'm going to join in and see which candidate I actually, if I want to support. And we were down to about 10 candidates. And I came home from work one day. I had a couple moments on my hand, and I said, hey, I'm going to go in the computer room right off the kitchen because I could still talk to my wife while she's preparing dinner. So, do you mind if I watch the Republican debate with Donald Trump? 10 candidates in, and I watched the whole thing. I came out of the computer room, and I said to my wife, I said, guess what? And she said, what's that? I said, Donald Trump's going to be the next president of the United States of America. She's like, what? That makes no sense. And I said, he literally has his finger on the pulse of everything that's wrong with America. And so let's think about this for a second. My childhood, intact families, everybody wanted a reasonably good paying job. Nobody wanted too much. People wanted to buy American. People basically wanted a little bit of healthcare and safety and security and maybe the capacity to do very few things in their life, but have a vacation every now and then and drive a simple car. And that was it. And what happened? Well, in America, we got globalized, right? From Ronald Reagan on, for the most part. That's just when I was a kid. We opened up our borders to free trade. We had unlimited immigration, and we became a globalistic nation, and we forgot about the America First thing. And Donald Trump essentially, it was palpable, and he answered every single one of those questions in terms of the policy that he would institute in America. So the globalists are these people, New World Order type communists or whatever they are. They want open borders. They want free trade. They want unlimited immigration. And what it did was it hollowed out our manufacturing base in America. And when that happened, everybody started, you had two-income families, so on and so forth. Nobody's around with the kids. And what skyrocketed shortly thereafter is divorce rates went up, and they went up dramatically. And so I'm just hypothesizing something here, by the way. The breakdown of the family wasn't the breakdown of the morality of the country. I think the breakdown of the family and the breakdown of the morality of the country was the globalistic movement and not having loyal patriotism. And everybody was too dang busy trying to get ahead, keep in front of the Joneses, because our purchasing power went down with globalization, and then more people had to work. They became too busy. They forgot God, and then the families broke up. And I would say that's probably a pretty good assessment about what happened to the culture in our nation. And if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If I'm right, if you agree, tell me you agree with me. But the weirdness that has ensued in the last probably 5 or 6 years of transgenderism, unlimited, whatever you want to do with anybody at any point in time, and the general acceptance of things that were considered sinful in the culture that I grew up in. These things are now legalized and promoted from all sides of the aisle. And the funny part is, when I grew up, you could actually speak out against these things and nobody would look at you crooked at all. Or say, now you can't even say anything, or else everybody gets mad and angry and offended and whatever else. And so I can tell you the culture is broken, and it's going to take some people to step up and speak out, and speak out without being embarrassed to speak out, because embarrassment really comes from just insecurity, and we as Catholics don't need to be insecure. It's funny, there's weird things in society, and I'll just say this real quick. If you smoke cigarettes, I'm a physician, you take about 7 years off your life, right? That's literally 7 years off your life, and everybody thinks it's one of the greatest evils you could do to your body. Well, when I was back in med school, I don't know what the official numbers are today, but male homosexuals have a life expectancy of approximately 45 years old because of diseases, infectious diseases, mental illness, suicide, you name it. The lifestyle is kind of unusual. And this act that they do in terms of sodomy, it's an unusual act that if you even think just for a moment about what the human body's made to do, that's not it, And so for somebody to say something like this, I'm saying it right now, everybody, people would be like apoplectic and angry and upset that I could possibly suggest such things. We're talking about cigarettes taking 7 years off your life, and I'd say, don't smoke, it's bad for you. And you guys would go, oh yeah, he's right, he's a doctor, I get that. And then if I say, don't sodomize, it's bad for you, it'll take 30 years off your life. You're like, oh, don't do that, you can't say that, you're gonna offend people. It's weird, our culture's just broken down. And so I guess I would say everybody out there right now, the culture is broken, but it doesn't have to be broken. So we need to, as Catholics, need to keep our eyes on the Lord, get back to church. And then we got to put our lives in perspective. We don't need huge tracts of land outside of town with, like crazy things and boats and quads and ATVs and campgrounds and campers and, everything. Everybody wants everything nowadays. And basically a small little house where you can raise your family and they could be happy and safe and secure. If we did that and we got back to the basics, and then we'll get back to the basics of life, not just family life. Well, we get back to the basics of family life, but the basics of what were our minds and bodies made for? Like, we're there to serve each other, and we're not there to like go, to the star and the moon, the skies in terms of materialism. We're there to be a service to one another. And if we could make a culture somehow, and then enculturate this and rebuild Christian culture, I think it would be good for the world. And so I guess just think about that for a second, because the world is so divided from itself now that you can't even have an idea in front of somebody without like risking offending somebody. I think you need to find people you have commonality with and hang out with them and enjoy their time together and eat with them and do things that people used to do and dance with them and play music with them and rebuild your culture in terms of Christian culture. There's a book out there. What is it called? I think it's called Out of the Ashes. Like how you can rebuild Christian culture by Chaput. It was really good. We got to start doing that again because our Christian culture is dead. And I think the fact that we can't even say basic truths of the Roman Catholic Church in front of people tells you that not only is our culture dead, our church is almost dead as well. So become a church militant, a Catholic warrior, whatever you can be. Say what you say, and you might upset people, but that's okay. Because being upset's upset. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Just remember that. And well, anyway, so get the Mass, pray the daily rosary, live a sacramental life, get the confession, and share and like and subscribe if you like these videos. And keep watching. I have a whole 400 and some odd of them. And this is Catholic Dad. Make you think about it. God bless you all.